Hey, by the time this video is over, you should know how to build a rance brace properly. And we've actually called in some real help because we all know I can't weld. Dan, I don't think can weld any better. So we've called in some real help because we're actually going to stress test these braces when they're all done to see which brace holds up the best under the same identical conditions. We're going to call this a rance brace, or some people call it a knee brace. But by the end of this video, you should know how to set everything up, the kind of do's and don'ts of it, and how to go about doing all that stuff with tools as simple as a bandsaw. You will need a welder for the best results. So one of the first things we have to determine is the type of wire we're going to be using and the height of the fence. So for a rance brace, wherever we're pulling from, if we want this to be about 2 inches off the ground, that pipe's about 2.5 inches, let's say it's right there, we're going to want to be about 2/3 the pull height of the fabric. So from here to here, 32 inches to the height, and that ends up somewhere right in here. We're going to raise it just a teeny bit and come in right about here, which we have decided is about 38 inches from the ground. And that will make sure that when we're doing our tie-offs and everything, our wire's not in the way. What we want to do is try and keep this angle less than 19 degrees so that we're not jacking this post out of the ground as we pull on it. If we get too high, then all it does is create a leverage point and it starts pulling this post out of the ground. So how high you put this up when you do one of these diagonal rance or knee style braces, it's very critical. Yeah, about 38 inches high. Sounds good. So we'll make that the top. And then down here at the other end, you can cut this post off, you can leave it long, but all these posts are driven 3 feet in the ground. And some people will cut this off and put their little nubby, if you want to call it, or a queen post. They'll leave this below grade. And so the bar will disappear into the ground right about here, which is the way we're going to do that. The other option would be to not dig into the ground and weld it on right up here, right above grade. There's some advantages and disadvantages to both. The advantage of doing it above grade is I can probably get more around the pipe. The disadvantage is that then my bending moment turns into somewhere down in here, and I can actually bend that post and then just bend this post without pushing the ground. What I'm trying to do is transfer that load not only into this post, but into all the soil that's behind it. So the deeper I go into the ground with my angled brace, the stronger it'll be. The drawback is I won't be able to get on the bottom side of that pipe to weld that, but we should be transferring all that load both down here, so it's going to push this post that way, or try to against the dirt, and it's also going to be trying to push against the ground to try and break that weld that's not fully welded all the way around. I think we'll have plenty of structural integrity. We'll actually dig our strut in. We'll probably leave this post tall because I can still tie my wire off to it, and it just makes another secure point. I like the idea. I just think if you're already going to put the post in there, it's easier to drive that way, and then you have another post to tie your fence off to. So that's the way we are going to proceed. So the next thing that I need to do is select my shovel. Now, these are some of the shovels that we use for doing our trenching and digging on our projects. They're made by Bush Pig, and unfortunately, this is the last of them. Once these are out, there is no more. They're made of hard ox, they're super hard, they're super useful, and the thing that we like about these is they have some real weight to them because we're trying to chop into all this rooted up, root bound sod and get through all that stuff, and it just makes it a lot easier. They're really good for prying rocks out. You can actually use them for digging bars and all kinds of stuff because they've got this nice sharp point. The cool thing is they come in different blade widths and different handle styles. So depending on the blade width or the handle style you're looking for, we've got you covered. But I'm going to use this one. This is my favorite one that I like for doing rance braces. We'll just come back here a little bit. You can see how having that weight is super critical. Just having a regular trenching shovel doesn't quite work. These shovels would really be good in landscaping, digging up sprinkler lines. Yeah, they're extremely handy. Man, that stuff's really rooted in. Now, one of the things that we don't want to do is loosen up any soil on the backside of this. That's the stuff we're trying to keep good and solid. Now, if I'm doing any of this wrong, I do expect the Aussies or the Kiwis, or maybe even some of the people from the UK to chime in and let us know what we've screwed up, because we never claim to be perfect. We're all still learning. The reason we're trying to get down here is because if there's rain, it's going to soak the first top, couple foot, 2 feet, depending on how long it rains. The further up the soil is, the less strong it is, because it can, obviously be displaced easier. The more we get this down in here, the harder it is for it to displace that soil. We gain strength. All right. Oh, look at that. So all I'm doing is using my clamp here to hold my rail up kind of to where I want it to stop on that mark. Now I'm going to cut this thing a little long.
Hey, Mark.
Huh?
Was that set up for a different one? It's not 10 feet.
Oh, yes. This is the other one. Don't worry. We'll just move right over here to this one. we'll just magically move over. Yep, never happened. Wrong setup. We're gonna move over. What are you doing over there, Dan?
I thought we were doing this one.
Oh yeah, that's the next single, yeah, okay. Geez, I'm still not on the right one.
This is the right hand, this is the left hand. We don't know what we're doing today.
When we do the next test, we're gonna bring labels out here and we're just gonna label them with a sheet of paper so we know what the heck's going on. Cause man, even I'm getting confused now. There's just too much going on. Yeah, 37's what I came up with the other day too. That's really good. And then give me dug down just a little bit on the sides of that. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and the way I like to do this, is just kind of cut it a little bit long. I'm just trying to get it a little bit closer to the angle so that I don't have to guess as much what my real angle is gonna be. So I'm just gonna chop this off right here. And then I can kind of lay it down here and get a really good idea what we need to do. Just makes it easier to deal with. And then we'll find out if I actually cut it long because, well, you know, mistakes happen. Okay, just down enough to weld on the sides of the post. That's it, just get the dirt around because you know it's gonna be coped.
Yep.
So right now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna show you basically what we're trying to accomplish. So we need to take out a lot more material on the bottom than we do on the top. The top's pretty good almost. So if we mark this pipe, we turn our seam just straight up and down. I like to use the same because right on the bottom side there's another mark. It's just kind of discolored. And then we have our seam right here. Those are really easy points to find. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come down and we gotta cut about that much material out to get that up there. We'll just come and mark this one right about there. And then I'm gonna angle cut this with my bandsaw so that hopefully we end up with something. Well, I actually need to go down quite a bit further, something like that. That's our goal, right there. So whatever we do on that end, we basically have to do the exact opposite down here. So on here, we need to cut material out of the top, but we know that bottom is right there. So because I marked that other end, we'll mark this end like this. We might not have to cut hardly any off this, maybe just nip the ears just a little bit here on the end. We'll see what this looks like once we get it laid in there. You see, because I had that angle, I was able to follow that line really well. That gave me a really good indication of where I was at. So what we're gonna do is just come down in here and check our fit. And actually, it looks like we could go just a touch deeper right here. But because that's down in the hole and it's hard to see, and this is the same angle, we should be able to flip this and still get a really good idea because it's kind of the same right here. Now you can really see what's going on. Maybe need to take a little bit out right here. And then this angle is really good. So just a little less nip on this side and we should be good to go. And then just kind of draw our lines out like that and we'll try and follow that same line. Okay, so that should be pretty close. I think that's pretty good. We've got a nice fit here, but I'm gonna pull it up and look at it out of the hole going this way. As we look at this fit, we have to remember that that end down there is going to drop more. We have a pretty good fit, but we're holding up right here on these ears and we're just gonna have to lop those off just a teeny bit. All right, let's see what that looks like. But now I still gotta go a little more on that bottom. That's a really good fit, but what we gotta see is what happens when we drop it down that hole, so. So what I've done here is I've put a mark right here kind of even with my face because I know that's the furthest depth of my cut. I'm gonna cut this off and then we'll do the same mirror cut to that end on this end. First thing I'm gonna do is cut this thing to length just to make it easy to see my cope, which I've basically just taken that mark and then added like, oh, probably 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4, because we can always trim this down later on pretty easily. For the last 5 years, millions of you have watched us build fences right here on YouTube. Not sit behind a desk and talk theory, but actually get out in the field, get dirty, and teach you how to do the same.
We learned it the hard way.
We started out as fence builders because that's who we are.
To teach the trade, not to cheapen it.
And we built SWI to do it right.
After a 1.5 years of hard work, we're cruising into 2026 with all the paperwork done and an opportunity ready for you that won't soon be taken over by AI.
We're now launching in Montana, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, and Nebraska.
I've always said fencing's not a spectator sport. It's for people that want to get a little bit dirty, but you're gonna like what you can build.
You get our systems, our training, and decades of real world experience.
This gate's upside down.
No, it's not.
If you've watched this and thought for the last 5 years, I could do that.
Bet.
And we're here to help you do it right.
SWI Fence.
Built by fencers.
Bringing a good dang day closer to you. I'm just double checking my mark here. Oh, weir stayed right on it. Again, this is the bottom side, so I know I've got to come back just a little more on that. Okay. Oh, jeepers creepers, we got to go way back. We're about 2.5 inches high right now, so we got lots more to cut. Yep, getting closer. More off the bottom, I'd say. Now what we see is that we need to nip some off these ears. Okay, so what we've got now is something that basically mirrors exactly what we had down there. I'm gonna mark a couple spots. I can see them right about here. I could trim some, and I'm not really perfectionist at this. The people that are really good at this get super fast as well. Plasma cutters are a lot better, but the reason we're doing it this way is because bandsaws are a lot cheaper. This is the hardest way to do it, and because we can't use a template, we don't have a template for this particular angle, we do have to kind of fit it. Once you've done several of these, it gets a lot faster and a lot easier. I'm kind of a noob, actually. And that's a pretty decent fit right there. You can notice that as I push on it just a little bit, it's kicking that back, and I can stress this just slightly by pushing on this, and I think we'll be good. Can you weld that up? So he's gonna weld this up real quick. We'll come back here in just a minute and see how he does. So Adam has us welded all in here, and as you can see, I just want to point out, that's the difference between somebody that is a good welder and to go look at my welds over there. They're pretty terrible. I used to be good at it, but clearly, same guy fitting both braces, one guy can weld, one guy can't. Big difference in outcomes. So this looks amazing. We're going to strength test this when we're all done. I look forward to seeing that video. Now you can see how this works. As you can see, now the center of this brace, which the weakest point in this piece of pipe right here is right in the center. So we've shifted it because now we've got a contact point right here. We've shifted the center point, or the weakest point of that brace, further up the rail, further up here. That's one of the other things to think about, and another good reason to maybe bury it, because what I expect to see when these things start failing is this brace will probably crumple into the ground. We'll get a bend somewhere. I'm gonna guess probably somewhere up in here, but again, it used to be down in here. So we've made this just a little bit stronger by burying it. The last step to finish this up is just cover all this stuff up, and because it's galvanized, it'll last a very long time. After the cows get done with this, you never even know what happened. I think some of that's poo. And so that's basically what it looks like. Again, we've left this tall because why cut it off when we can just use it to tie off the fence and make it look nice. If you're interested in bush pig tools, we do have the shovels. We'll put a link in the description down below. Just click that little thing where the description for the video is. There'll be a link down there that takes you to our store where we have all this stuff. As always, I'm Mark with SWI here in beautiful, sunny, 45-degree weather in the middle of February. And I'm having a great day, so I hope you also have a good dang day, and I hope it's not cold where you're at.